and Master University song. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly rise. Kehidupan kita sang juara meneraju cemerlang selaluan gemilang Jalinan antara bangsa sinilah medan profesional berjaya kita lakukan di pentas dunia University Masa lambang kejayaan University Masa satu kemegahan University Masa menuju kemasyhuran University Masa pasti pilihan berdaya saing, berinovatif, berdedikasi, berintegriti, melahirkan insan berkualiti, bangsa jadikan satu realiti. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Now, I would like to invite the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research and Innovation, Master University, to deliver the welcome speech. Please join me in welcoming Professor Emeritus Dr. Rosner binti Mohammed Sheikh.
Assalamualaikum. and a very good afternoon to everyone. Yang berusaha, Mr. Afin Zan Faizal Abdullah, yang berusaha Prof. Dr. Rusli Ibrahim, Dean of Medicine, and that Prof. Datin Dr. Zoria, Dean of Pharmacy, and all our deans and other deans and deputy deans and staff. It is truly a pleasure to welcome all of you, colleagues, students, distinguished guests, and our esteemed speaker, Mr. Afin Zan Faizal Abdullah. Today, Let's Talk series session jointly organized by the Research, Innovation and Enterprise Committee and the Faculty of Medicine. The topic we're discussing today would be AI in education. It's not just timely, it is for me personally very close to heart. As you may know, I have great interest in AI in education for a while and have been joining a group of researchers to assist in embarking in AI in education. However, I can't say that I know fully about AI. So I look forward to being enlightened by this talk today. That said, today's session is not about my work, it's about the bigger picture. How can AI empower both educators and learners? What are the promises and what are the pitfalls? And how do we balance efficiency with empathy? These are complex questions, and we are extremely fortunate to have someone who can speak about these in depth and clarity. Mr. Afin Zan Faizal Abdullah, our speaker today, is a technology strategist and innovation leader at Meranti with a remarkable track record in driving national innovation strategy. He brings invaluable insights into how AI can be applied thoughtfully across sectors, including education. I have no doubt that his talk will spark ideas, challenge assumptions, and inspire innovation. So I encourage all of you to listen actively, ask boldly, and take this opportunity to reflect on how we can shape an AI-powered education system that remains inclusive, ethical, and deeply human. Once again, thank you for being here, and I now hand over to our MC to continue the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your welcome speech, Professor Emeritus Dr. Rosna. Now, it's my pleasure to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Professor Dr. Rusli, to introduce today's speaker.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum, and very good afternoon to everyone. To Prof. Rosna, our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Emeritus Dr. Rosna, my colleagues, Mr. Daniel, Dr. Audrey, Prof. Datin Zoria, Prof. Salini, Prof. Rabin, and all of you. And especially to our guest, Mr. Afnizan Faizal Abdullah. So I'll just read a little bit about him. He has been working, he was previously in UTM, Johor Bahru. I was talking to him just now, for 8 years. And he has been in Meranti for the last 3 years. Mr. Afnizan Faizal is a seasoned technology strategist and innovation leader at Meranti, Malaysia's Central Agency for Research and Innovation Commercialization, with a deep focus on artificial intelligence. And he plays a pivotal role in driving national level initiatives that bridge scientific discovery with market-driven solutions. At Meranti, he champions AI adoption through strategic programs that integrate emerging technologies into key sectors such as energy, agriculture, and healthcare. His work is at the intersection of policy, infrastructure, and entrepreneurship, empowering startups, researchers, and corporations to scale impactful technologies. Known for his practical insights on AI infrastructure, ethical AI, and commercialization strategy, Afnizan Faizal is a sought-after speaker in forums addressing digital transformation, national innovation agendas, and the future of technology in South Asia. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a very big welcome to Mr. Afnizan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Rosli. Let us now welcome our speaker, Dr. Afnizan Faizal Abdullah.
Hello? Oh, okay. Oh, ingatkan kalau menyala tu ingatkan on punya. Dia on dia tak menyala. Okay. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon everyone. My name is too long to pronounce. You can call me Faizal, shorter but still nice. You don't have to call me doctor, otherwise you look old for me. You don't have to call Abdullah, otherwise my late father will come. That's really a spooky moment for us, all of us. So you can call me Faizal only. So just to give you a context, I was with UTM, University of Technology Malaysia, Johor for 8 years, serving as a senior lecturer after I finished my PhD in 2013. And then I realized that my soul and my purpose is not as teaching. Then I into the startups ecosystems. So from there, I incorporated a company, my first company, which is focused on AI for predictive maintenance. And our first client was Petronas, alhamdulillah. Not Petronas now, but Petronas a few years back, okay, very exciting. And then there's an opportunity that the company that is established, we have interest to be acquired by another company. So after then, I'm no longer with universities and I'm no longer in startups because I consider myself retired. Then I got the opportunity to join Meranti because of my experience from R&D towards the commercializations. So today, I want to express my warmest gratitudes to all the top management here for inviting me. I feel so small when the times that I came to your beautiful gate, I feel so small. So siapakah lah hamba ini untuk datang ke sini, okay? Berjumpa dengan para bijaksana, cendekiawan di masa, okay? So for today's, I've been given the opportunities to share a bit about AI for educations. When I was in my PhD times, no one cared about AI. Now people is losing their mind when it comes to AI. Okay, so let's capitalize this moment. Okay. So for today, the title will be AI in Education, empowering students and teachers towards academic excellence. But for today's, I change a bit, not only students and teachers, but I will redefine it as educators and learners. So it's going to be beyond age. So when it comes into educations, it's never changed for the last 100 years. The way that we teach, the way we learn, it's never changed. Okay? So we in Malaysia even worse. We adopt the cultures from other side of the world, for instance, the UK, the US, or Europe, and realize that, hey, it's not really much suitable for us. But nevertheless, we in Malaysia, we are one of the countries that produce a very high quality of talent. Okay? So one thing that we learned, the issue with education is the issue they call as one fit all. So that means there's only one schools that serve to the same systems and that ignores the potentials of others that cannot fit to the systems. Okay? For instance, those young, maybe we can say that people with special abilities, I don't say disability, I prefer to use the special abilities because they need to have special route of learning. So that's why I want to emphasize on learning, okay, not the students or teachers and whatnot. And when we took back a few years back, we have been feel in the situations where we've been locked out from going outside, which happened during the COVID. And then they realized that, hey, we have internet and we can still learning and we can still attend the schools. Okay, I remember that during that time, my children's schools, they really don't know how to do it. So almost 6 months down to the road. So no classes and whatnot. And to make things worse, it's a private school. Okay? So I need to pay every month, but my children not attend any school. So then they comes up with the models that's going to be learning from homes and whatnot. Okay? So then we realized that the most important part on learning is personalizations. So during that time, I realized that my second son, which is of course anak kedua ni special sikit, dia ada cara dia sendiri, and a few times caught by me sleeping while in the class, but surprisingly by end of the years he can perform. So macam mana kau boleh buat ni? Ayah dulu tak boleh buat macam ni. So what happens? Then I realized that education must be personalized, but the system is not there yet. Then fast forward after a few years, people's losing their minds about AI and whatnot. So this is where we want to incorporate the technologies on in the education systems. So this is something that we can ponder. Imagine a Form 4 students in Kuala Lumpur using AI to master additional math. Okay? What if every student could have the personalized tutors available 24/7? So that means each of us or each of my children have their own tutors, and that tutor is not even humans. So this is what we call as AI that can be used as augmented our life. It's a co-pilot nowadays people are talking about, co-piloting our life. And for me, the one that have the opportunity to learn about AI, for me, AI is just a tool. It should maintain that way. And we cannot live without eventually. And most importantly, it must be coexist with us, as what we have right now with our smartphones and our internet. So maybe in the future, we have AI as our partners. AI co-piloting our everyday job. So from here, we differentiate between the educators and the learners. This is if public sector, they call it TOR, term of reference. Okay, so the term of reference for the educators automates grading, freeing up 5 to 8 hours weekly for actual teachings. Lesson plannings, AI generating culturally relevant examples and activities, and students progress trackings by automating some early identifications of at-risk students. So for instance, we have this, I left academics long time ago. Before I left, there's some system called OBE. Anyone educators here? Anyone need to do OBE? Still, Okay. All the best. And the OBE, outcome-based education, is based on the grading and whatnot. And I still remember that we have formative and summative, right? So I still remember lah, okay? So formative is like the quizzes, the assessments and whatnot, while the summative will be the final examinations and whatnot, okay? So maybe doing this time, we can see that this is where we utilize or we capitalize the OBE systems towards the systems by indicating, by predicting, or we can do predictive maintenance on our students while looking into potentials. I can say that something may goes wrong if we continue this way, the same way. So this is where we can look into how the grading systems, the OBE systems, can be incorporated with this kind of intelligence. Whereas for the learners, we have these adaptive learning platforms. You need to spend your times and whatnot. Language supports, I believe that there's a variety of people here, maybe not Malaysians, maybe not even Malaysians, maybe somewhere around the world, have a difference of language or language barrier. This is where the LLM can be in large language models. And 24/7 tutorings, AI assistance helping with homeworks, co-piloting. But between these two use cases, these two individual, two category, I'm highlighting the last one. For the educators, it's a professional development. which you need to do the personalized upskilling recommendations. So the teachers, the educators, then you guys need to improve yourself day by day. So I have another session this morning with Embassy of France, talking about upskilling AI in the future. So I'm emphasizing on the upskilling because whether we like it or not, AI could replace our job. So the students here, your jobs now maybe is not available or not even exist when you graduated. So this is where you need to have different mentalities. You need to be a little bit of open-minded on learning new things, upskilling yourself with certain additional knowledge and skills. And it must be personalized. Each of every one of you have a different advantages or strength, okay? Not to mention the weaknesses. Whereas for the learners, the skill gap analysis identifying weak areas in the core subjects like mathematics and science. So imagine there's a few subjects you take every semester, and we can identify which subject that you really weak or you really strong at, okay? And how you learn it maybe differently. So for me, I was in universities when I was a university student. I really bad at mathematics. I never realized that I can finish my PhD because PhD is about mathematics and whatnot. Okay, I really bad in mathematics, but I really good at coding, and apparently I really good at graphic designing. Even though I don't much like graphic designing or graphic modeling and whatnot. And my AI subject during that time, I got B. Now I'm talking about AI in front of you. Okay. So from there, this is something that you can start with changing your mindset 5 times on how you want to moving forwards. So don't worry, this talk is pretty much boring, but I prepared some videos that may spark some interest to you.
This is Out the School, where teachers are considered guides and students study for only 2 hours a day, and supposedly they're learning twice as fast.
You condense like a 6-hour normal school day into only 2 hours, and it's not like with a teacher standing in front of you, it's with an AI app that's personalized to skills that you need to learn in the grade level.
Students begin each day with a group activity to build connection and focus. Then, for the next 2 hours, students spend their time on an AI program that custom builds their learning path in real time. It's a personalized AI-driven experience with one-on-one virtual tutors that adjust instantly to the student's move.
In public school, you very much just teach a blanket lesson and you just hope and you cross your fingers that kids catch on.
Because the AI learning only takes 2 hours, the rest of the day is open for exploring their passions like swimming, art, or even launching their own startup. Some dive into music. One student, he's building a cleaning robot.
When I build it, I'm gonna program it to clean.
You're gonna program it to clean stuff?
Yeah, like
That's smart.
tiny stuff.
After lunch, like it's not academics, it's just the workshops, the teamwork, the doing your passion project. And so for them, I think that's why they take it so seriously, because they have that understanding of this isn't a traditional school where I'm going to be doing this for the entire day. But I know that if I'm going to condense an entire day down into just the morning, then that's what has to get done.
If you get an epic day, if you get 9 masteries, well, you don't have to do your computer anymore. You can paint, make stuff.
So what do you think about your guides here?
They're nice. They don't tell me the answers. They just give me resources.
They light up when they talk about them. Like they just feel like, you know, this is the person who really cares about them and leans into who they are as a person. Like they just get to know that kid and they try to help motivate them through the things that they love and help guide them.
They never will tell you that you can't do something. So over time, like then you develop that mindset. And so just like the environment from day one has always been like, you can do anything if you set your mind to it. So I think that's like where I started to learn motivation.
I spoke to Sarah and it really made a deep impact on me.
Oh, I love that.
When I walked away, I texted my son, just met a 6-year-old who used incentive correctly in a sentence. My son, who just turned 11, says, "What does incentive mean?" So that
That's
to
huge.
that to me was like instantly verification that it's working. Something is working.
Yeah, I feel like public schools need to have an open mind and really start leveraging the power of AI and individualized learning models.
Okay, right. So as you see that there's a changes of the educations in Texas. They call it alpha schools. So they only learns 2 hours. So that you don't have to yawnings during the classes and whatnot, but you are going to explore and being co-piloting by the AI in 2 hours. The rest you are going to explore. Okay, so this is quite controversial. The traditional policymaker were not like this much, especially the OBE peoples, and because of this, due to the different way of measurements and whatnot. But the big question here: are we ready to adopt this kind of educations or learning activities? We can start from universities because lecturers, the academicians from universities, you can make the difference. So talking about difference, this is one companies, one startups, one innovative companies that we facilitated for the last 3 years. Pandai.ai. So what they do, they have the platforms, they're developing the platforms, and this platform can be accessed now. You can download with your mobile apps and whatnot. And I also used it for my students. And there's a different personalized way in each of my school, my kids have different way of learning. So the mission statements from these innovators is Malaysia education system face significant challenge in delivering personalized, effective learning and a diverse students' needs and whatnot. So the solutions, they comes out at least 3 features, which is adaptive learning engines, the AI-powered study assistance, and the last but not least, the intelligent content personalizations. So we can use, I talked to Kairos, which is the founders, this guy, and they also intend to embark into university syllabus and whatnot. Okay? So this is something that we can start ourselves. So, and I believe that most of the university in Malaysia, you have subscribed to certain services like Google's, Microsoft and whatnot, make use of this kind of technology. And just recently, we found that there's some issues, or bukan issue lah, it's pretty much some news that called that the students caught writing 100%, not even writing, they produce 100% content comes from ChatGPT and how to solve it. So you cannot do anything, but you try to adopt. We the one who need to change the educators and whatnot. Okay. So this is a pretty much, I'm almost end of my sessions. But before I end, I would like to show you what Meranti is doing. So what is Meranti? Meranti is Malaysian Research Accelerators for Technology and Innovations. We are agencies under MOSTI, Ministry of Science, Technology, Innovations. And what we do at Meranti, we try to address what they call as valley of death. So you are the innovators, you have some ideas, and suddenly that idea can apply due to some reasons. Funding one of the things. But the most important part is adoptions. No one cares about your innovations. No one wants to use your platforms. So Pandai is one of the startups that we managed to pull them from the valley of death, identifying that what people needs from their platforms. So the demand side. Okay. So I remember what Steve Jobs mentions on innovations. The innovations technology you cannot push to the users and expect user to use it. It needs to come with the demand and the problems and moving backward. And that means the innovations, the technologies need to identify later after you address the problem statements. So this is the frameworks that when I joined Meranti 3 years back, I saw a lot of issues or some these engagements between the innovators and also doing the demands. So I comes up with this frameworks. So this framework had been used by Meranti for the last 3 years. Then alhamdulillah, we have managed to get 200 startups where most of them, including Pandai, had managed to commercialize their products successfully. And some of them, we managed to managed to bring them to the global markets. So it's coming back to the IP, the intellectual property, the patents that you produce, the copyright that you produce every year for your KPIs, for your kenaikan pangkat and whatnot. We take that. Okay? We collect them from you, and from there we identify whether that IP has a demand or not. So we do the demand analysis. So from this IP, we bring to the second stage where we try to co-create with the problem statements. Okay? So from these problem statements, we help them to develop the solutions. And when it's coming to academicians, we don't suggest you to open spin-off company. Sini ada KPI untuk buka spin-off. We against that. So most of the public university, they ask to open up to spin-off company. For us, when they come to us, especially they come to me, I said no. Because for me, academician is the worst businessman. reality check. Yeah? So for what we do, we avoid you to go for business. That doesn't mean that we. But you have the IP. You are the brain behind the technology. So on the IP side tu, 1 dengan 2 tu, we introduce licensing agreements. So that you license your IP to the startups or to the corporates that really wants your technology. So this is how Oxford, this is how Cambridge did it. And of course, some of the top universities, they are doing this. When I personally visit, when I've been sent to UK last few years and a few other countries, I do the studies. Licensing agreements is one of the solutions for us to bring this innovation policy to markets. Then during this process, we do venture buildings, we explore, we try to marry between the innovators and also with the business people, those who run business. And from that, after that, with the solution have been done, have been developed, we do the testing side. So this is where the fundings come in, sandbox programs. NTRS, National Technology Innovation Sandbox, or in short, sandbox programs. So these are sandbox programs, we bring them to the adoption. For instance, the one that I'm going to show you an example later is regarding healthcare. So for AI for healthcare, they're having a lot of issues, lot of problems, lot of challenge when they want to bring the innovations to the hospital, because they need to go through Ministry of Health. So what happens, we at Meranti, we try to berkawan. Alhamdulillah, now we become very close friends with Kementerian Kesihatan. And we're having our own health tech sandbox, where all the innovations come to us. We are going to suggest to our best friend there, which is Kementerian Kesihatan and the Ministry of Health, hey, you can use this to your hospitals. Then they can identify which hospital they are going to test the innovations. So this is the first round of penetrating the markets. And a few of them have gone through some global markets, which I'm going to show later on, how these simple applications can be developed in Malaysia. And these innovators never go up from Malaysia, besides the time they do the study, their study time. But the technologies remain in Malaysia, but have been used worldwide. And from the markets and toward the expansions. So on the bottom, at the bottom too, is pretty much our funding facilitations. So the first ones is come from Meranti Venture Co-creation Programs that have been powered by Origin Venture. It's the venture capital from Singapore. I managed to pull them from Singapore. Hey, what happened to Singapore? No, nothing is in Singapore. You need to come to Malaysia. Now they open up an office in Malaysia, and they funded few projects, not even incorporated the company yet. They pumped 300,000 per project with the exchange of 20% of equity. Before this project being incorporated in the company as a spin-off. Okay? So from there, we managed to bring this to our sisters agencies, which is the Cradles, and also our My Startups programs. And for Sandbox, for testing, is our own programs. And then this is considered, the last stage is considered as post-revenue. So because there's adoptions, there's some testing in the hospital happening, then there's some LOI or whatever, there's some hint that this product going to make it to the markets. So this is what Meranti is doing. So the next slide is going to be the stage, okay, before we end. I thought this is the last slide lah, ada lagi, okay, last, okay. So realizations, developments, and commercializations. So it's a summary of what we introduced just now. Now I'm showing you the applications that we help from day one. So this company is called Maya. They have some idea because Maya has been established by a medical doctor, Dr. Hanif. So Dr. Hanif ni is a medical doctor by practice, expertise in fractured tulang. Dalam tulang apa dalam bahasa medical? Orthopedic. Okay, so that shows that I'm not in the medical punya field lah. Okay. So orthopedic doctors, he said that to me, I had enough of becoming a medical doctor. I want to stop becoming a medical doctor. I want to venture into startups. So he did it. He made a huge jump. He has an idea on the fractured punya issue and whatnot. One question, I still remember, this is one of the company that I mentored from day one. And I asked Dr. Hanif, why fractured? Of course, your expertise in orthopedics, but why fractured in Malaysia? You know what's his answer? Dr. Af, in Malaysia, there's a lot of motorcyclists. Accidents happens. And when the accident happens, their bones fractured. It's one of the highest cases in the hospital in Malaysia because we have a lot of motorcyclists. Okay? Then it shut me off for the entire conversations. Berbelasan, okay? Because I'm not in the field, I'm not see the demand, but he saw the demand. And then they said they have the idea and whatnot. Okay, they have the capacity. They have once Dr. Hanif comes up with this company, already hired few programmers. They comes up with some good products. Okay, but they need some facilitations, technology access. This is where I brought them to meet AWS and NVIDIA, because last 2 years Meranti have a collaborations directly NVIDIA directly from the US. I managed to brought them from the States to Malaysia, specifically to Meranti. Okay? And during that times, they whispered to me, Dr. Af, Jensen Huang is coming. And I cannot say to anyone during that time. And that happens on the December, Jensen Huang came to meet PMX. So I'm one of the person that know earlier lah. Okay? So, and from there, they came to Meranti, we become a partner, we sign an MOU and whatnot. Then we bring some of the startups to meet them and they provide some GPU access so that the startup can develop the solutions. And then working with some universities, at this point is UiTM. Okay. Now the video, the last slide that I'm going to show. This is the platforms. Uploading a DCOM file, which is the MRI radiography image lah. And from this, analyzing the bone structure and using the OpenAI and also the Gen AI models, they can suggest what really happens to these patients. Okay? Okay? And this have been run, this individual have been captured in NVIDIA punya platform. This platform, NVIDIA, they are the marketplace. So this video has been uploaded there. So I managed to capture this. And this platform already in the NVIDIA marketplace and have been showcased worldwide. And Dr. Hanif, I asked Dr. Hanif to capture the originations of the users. So recently he shows to me the origins of the users. Some are from the States, from the US, and surprisingly, the highest number is come from Israel. So I have to really do some things because Israel is not a country anyway. Yeah? So this is where this project always keep me smiling. There's another project that related to agriculture, but it's nothing to do with AI, so I cannot share this to you. Otherwise, it's no point. And this is something that I come to believe that we really have a really good talents. We just need to give opportunity and the right directions. So I guess that's all for me. I hope cross the boundary of the times. I hope I can provide this shorter than expected. So that being said, thank you. And maybe we can open for Q&A. Is it? Or it's not allowed? Okay, sure. So we open up for a few question and answer before we end the sessions. Anyone? Okay.
What's from you?
What? Join Meranti.
Yes.
Okay.
Like the main reason.
Okay. Thank you for the questions. When I finished my PhD by the age of 27, and then I continued as an academician 8 years, and then I thought I have found my purpose. And I just realized that I'm a very bad teacher. I cannot teach. Okay? So, or at least my head of department don't like me. They say that, oh, Dr. Af, you cannot teach. I don't know. Okay, but this is what she told me. Okay, and then I realized that, oh, apparently academic is not my things. Then I jumped into startups, knowing that this is the fast way to get rich. Okay? So I did it. Okay? I have a companies. I managed to hire starting from 2%. Still remember how I hired them unconventionally. Then it goes up until 20% before being acquired. And yeah, I found what they call as kaya tu lah. Okay? I'm not telling that I'm kaya now, okay? But I thought my ending is on the prosperities, kekayaan. Okay? When the first few months I sold my company, happy lah. And then I realized that I'm not selling my company. I sold my soul. I sold my what they call as your life. Okay? Not dignity lah. Not that far lah. Okay? I sold my dream. Okay? Then I realized that I came after a few months after that, living without purpose. Okay? There's no point of having a kaya or ada duit dekat dalam accounts without purpose. So coming back to your questions, there's a times that Meranti called me, Dr. Af, we have a position here. We believe that you have a very fit into these positions. Do you want to join us? Straight away I say joins. That's 3 years back, and I never been so happy. Yeah, now. Okay, so I believe that my late mother said that you should go for academic. Turns out to be I'm a bad teacher. I cannot teach, but this is how I contribute back to the nations. And now we have 200 companies under Sandbox programs. They have already commercialized, and each of every of them put a smile in my face every day. So I hope that answers your questions. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
If I have an idea or project, which beneficial to the public, I would like to bring it to the public. What will be the first step?
Okay. So that's a good question. So going back to this, okay. But before I ask you much further questions, Merantis have a mandate that we provide 4 or 5 access. First is access to funding money lah. Okay. Secondly is access to technology. The third one is access to markets. The fourth one is access to talent. Okay. So from these 4, what you need? That you believe that you can make your idea in the next stage. So again, it's either you need funding or you need a technology, because maybe you come with the idea not even IP yet. You have some ideas. Bang bagi tadi, apa kata kalau kita buat macam ni kan, okay? It's hunch. Maybe you gone through the process before, you pretty much understanding the market and whatnot. It becomes some idea, okay? Or you need technology, or you need talents to develop that, and the fourth one is understanding the markets, okay? Access to the markets. So maybe you can start ask yourself about this. What's the idea and what you need? Because every single time people come to me personally, I will ask these questions. What you really need? Okay? And eventually, some of the cases, they don't really need funding pun. They just need facilitations from us, what to do next. So if you believe that the idea is really good, because you understand certain level of the demand and whatnot, of course you can come to us, then we can help you to understand about your ideas and how to moving forward. If we cannot help, we definitely can bring you to our sisters agencies like Cradles and whatnot. So when I come to Merantis, we don't have funding for step 1, step 2. We only have funding for step 3, commercial funding. Okay? So along the way, ramai banyak startup yang tak berjaya masuk ke level TRL now, we let them be. We bagi diorang ke agensi-agensi lain. And then we establish a partnership with our sister agencies like Cradles. Turns out they have funding for development. So there's a few that came to us, failed to get the funding, but we bring them to Cradles, they got the funding, then they came back to us so that we can provide the access, market access and whatnot. Okay. So I hope that answers your questions. Okay. Right. Maybe you can share your idea later on since I had it similar. Okay, any other questions? Okay, sure, sir.
Can I have the mic?
Okay, these are the first questions that require microphones. I hope I can answer your questions. Jadi kabra pula.
Sorry, but I think with mic better. This is Dr. Salah from Pharmacy School,
Okay.
Faculty of Pharmacy. Thank you for your interesting talk. I'm wondering, you said there is many challenges when we come to the AI in healthcare. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure, of course. That's only question, eh?
No, there's more.
Okay, right. Okay. Maybe you can shoot me the few more questions.
You mentioned only one application of AI in healthcare, which is about machine learning. Can you tell us about more applications from real world?
Okay.
Because you said that there is many.
Okay.
And talking about machine learning in radio therapy, I was involving in several projects to detect like image, like to train the machine learning to detect the tumor and diagnostic. But none of them was a project, was a company. All of them were thesis and papers.
Okay.
So how to decide or when to decide moving from student level, thesis, master or PhD to a company?
Okay.
Because I think was mature enough to be a product, but it was for education purpose, was for graduation. So I'm not sure if you can elaborate more as well.
Sure, of course. I can
Thank you.
answer all of them. Okay, the first questions. What's the challenge of the healthcare industries? Okay, just to let you know that healthcare industry this is a very long supply chain. And not even we started, it's separated into diagnostics, therapeutics, and also rehabilitations. Okay, which is after accidents, you rehab. Kalau cancers, before it happen, we can predict, okay? Diagnostics. Okay? So that is where these other parts, the ideation part, sebenarnya. Okay? When it comes into healthcare industry, all of these solutions need to go through few stages of clinical trials. Okay? They have their own spatial TRL. They call it healthcare readiness levels. Okay? So they have at least 3 stages of clinical trial. This happen in the lab. And then after that, they need to do the real clinical trial where they need to test it in hospitals, in the real users. And this usually happens not less than 3 years. So after this clinical testing, you have managed to do the clinic after 3 years, minimum. Okay, I never found less than 3 years. Usually 3 years and above. And after 3 years, what happens? They need to go to Ministry of Health. They need to go through few agencies. For instance, if you're doing something related to device, medical device, you need to go through Medical Device Authority in Cyberjaya, the office in Cyberjaya. So you need to make sure that you have the permits. It's like a SIRIM. You know SIRIM in Malaysia? So, but in medicals, they have MDA, Medical Device Authority. And this will give you an additional 6 months for you to get the permits to show that your products can be used by the public. And not to mention, after that, selain daripada tu, if you something related to consumables, but biotech and whatnot, you need to go for NPRA. Make sure that your consumables product is safe to eat, especially those yang ada some kind like disease or something related to macam alahan and whatnot. Okay, so from this, going to be not less than 5 years. Okay? So this is where the inequalities, why we cannot see many AI or technology can be penetrate to the hospital and whatnot. Some of them success abroad. They fed up to do here, then they go outside in India or in Indonesia. They've been accepted there, then they come back, then they can do it. So not to mention some of the international certifications like FDA and whatnot. So this is another challenge from the healthcare industries. And how Meranti is able to help with the existence of Meranti, we asked KKM, Kementerian Kesihatan, the Ministry of Health, to be partner with us, and kita establish our own jawatan kuasa, our own committee. We call it Health Tech Committee. Ada Mahtas dekat KKM, ada satu unit dipanggil Mahtas. Dan Mahtas ni this is Secretariat for Health Tech Committee. Keahlian, the membership of this committee is MOSTI and Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health, all agency is become the member of this committee. For MOSTI, is MOSTI itself and also Meranti. Okay, so every time we have innovations come from Meranti, like the one that I showed to you, we will bring them to this jawatan kuasa, to this committee, and ask the Ministry of Health, you need to open few hospital to do the testing. So Ministry of Health punya roles adalah look into the demand side. If there is any demands, they can open up a hospital to do the testings. So that accelerating the process of 5 years to become shorter. And through this committee of Health Tech Committee, we also have a membership of MDA, Medical Device Authority. They're providing us special route. Instead of 6 months, it's going to be 7 days. Okay? Temporary permit, just to do testings. Okay? So we did the same thing with other industry, like for example, drones, where they need to go through an organization called CAAM, Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia. Same thing happened, where they need to go through a special punya check and to get the permissions. Okay? So at Meranti, we have a special dedicated locations where If you do it outside of Meranti, you need to go through almost 3 months to get the permit just to fly the drones. For us, it's only 3 days. Just have a temporary punya approvals lah. Yeah? And I also remember for the last 3 years, we have a case for battery. This is some innovators that have the AI that able to predict the battery punya life. And they have a technology that they can revive back the technology. So for instance, you have those who have vehicle, cars, for example, you have the battery, and after 3 years, battery tu confirm kaput lah, confirm mati lah. But from this technology, they can extend the life of the battery. Unfortunately, the departments of environments have different angle of seeing things. They say that you cannot revive the battery because once the battery has died, it considered waste. And once waste, you cannot go back to the markets. Okay? So we fight that for particular researcher, for particular projects, 3 years. After 3 years, earlier this year, we have the email and the letter saying that the OE allow you to use temporary testing so that you can test your applications, your solutions to revive back the battery. It took us 3 years for policies. Okay? So that's one question, the first questions. Okay? The second question is application AI. So that's the example lah. Okay? Okay. Before I go to a few other examples, I want to coming back to this. They started with fracture, with orthopedic tulang. Okay? So what happens during this time adalah Dr. Hanif only focus on the orthopedics, which is the bones. When it's coming to radiography, we realize that SA can do more than that, which is cancer and whatnot. And developing the AI models, we also can adopt AI model to predict, to classify cancer cell or non-cancer cell, malignance and whatnot. So what happens, we incorporate the new models, not only fracture, but also the cancers. So from there, this is going to be a 2.0 that will focus on the cancers. So the point here, sometimes the innovations, we only focus only one particular things. After we successfully develop the things, then we realize that it can do more than that. Okay, it's like a bell curve. Okay? In the bell curve, you look into the small portions, which is less than 5% portions. Then we realize that these 5 portions can be used for the entire 90% of the bell curve. So this is some examples that we can do. So the rest after that, we also have another innovation from IMU. Okay? So IMU is using cell counter. That means it's a therapeutics solutions. They capture cell image, and then from them they counting the cells. And from these counting cells, they can identify whether this is damaged cell or not damaged cell. If damaged cell is a growing damaged cell, which is tumor. Then we realize that this is early indications of cancer patients. Then they comes up with the solutions, but for this particular company, they call it VidaNex. VidaNex is a spin-off company from IMU, and they comes up with the hardware, and also another one for the.
Even for example, if a patient tells the complaints to the AI, it can suggest what investigations to be done and what diagnosis can come.
Correct.
And the physician role is getting very less. Because, for example, if I feed my complaints to the AI, it suggests what is your disease, what investigations you have to do. Finally, we can go to, and in investigations again you can feed to the AI. It finally concludes.
We also fear the same thing, to be honest. But what we discovered, for these particular applications, we test to the hospitals, it reduced 95% of waiting time. That means the original process, you need to go to different counters. But from there, they jump few counters straight away to treatments. Okay? Because confirm, die memang dah patah. ataupun kalau tak patah dia akan beritahu next treatments lah, other treatments. Okay. So we managed to reduce the time frame of waiting tu, and from there we realized that we cannot even replace doctor pun. We impossible for us to replace doctor, but your job have been reduced and much focused to your specialty. That's why upskilling is the trick here is upskilling.
Because whatever the diagnosis physician
Yes.
gives, you can check with the AI.
Not
Also you can
much.
cross check also.
Yes, there's a certain level of errors, and we don't suggest AI to do the decisions. We go for AI for suggestions, recommendations, what to be do next. So don't consider AI as the new doctor, but it's like co-piloting. Same goes to the education. Yeah, co-piloting the doctor. Okay. So I hope that answer your questions. Okay. And also we have another project with this company is quite popular. Have you heard QMed Asia? Yes. Yeah, QMed Asia is one of our facilitated company. We brought them to NVIDIA. Then last year they introduced Dr. Mata. So Dr. Mata, what is Dr. Mata? It's quite sensitive for those who have 45 years old above. It's about diabetes. But nowadays, even young people can have diabetes, right? Anyway, so Dr. Mata is an application where the Ministry of Health identify there's a huge demands of diabetic patients need to inspect their eyes. So this is the issue of retinopathy. Yeah, I correct it, if I can. Retinopathy. Okay. Diabetics retinopathy. Okay. So there's a demand, and we share this demand to QMed Asia, and QMed Asia have the solutions, and they work with NVIDIA. Now they have a solutions where they can detect the severity of retinopathy in the eye. So if it's severe, you need to be prioritized for Q. If not severe, you can go through normal treatments and whatnot. So again, we need to reduce, because every time I drive my cars in front of hospitals, a lot of the hospital parking lot always full. I want to see the parking lot have some vacancies later on. Okay? So I hope that answer your questions. Any other questions? Okay. Wah, ada banyak lagi soalan lagi.
I'm Dr. Neo from Faculty of Medicine.
Okay.
For this application as well, I use some apps to check for the early phase of malignancy photos. I wonder how they get the training data set for this type of apps. For sure, they will need tens of thousands of images to train this model. So how do they get these pictures?
Okay. So coming back to your applications, is a piece.
Not this one. This radiology.
Radiology. Oh, you mean radiology lah. Okay, right. So for the training side, usually we do the small size models. Usually we do using benchmark data that maybe can use from internet lah. Okay? There's a publicly used for research. I believe that if you publish a papers, definitely you can get this data easily. Okay, but when it comes to practicals, some of these photos is not relevant to Malaysian or ASEAN regions because of our culture. Maybe we not drinks alcohol a lot compared to this Europe people. So the culture will have show some difference of our physiology and whatnot. So from there, we realize that this is the AI punya terms. Anyone from AI punya research tak? Anyone from AI? Artificial Intelligence Research? No? Tak ada eh? Okay. In AI, there's some issue called overfitting. When this happens, okay, if you use specific numbers of data, and this data is inclined to certain things, okay, it's like you having your roti canai every day in Malaysia. Suddenly you go to UK, there's no roti canai, you don't feel right. So this is example of overfitting. That means the models really convert with the data already, and they try to incline. In ChatGPT, they call it hallucinations. Okay, so but in AI they call it overfittings. So the overfittings, they call because of the not enough of the right data. So this is the issue, the growing issue. Then we collaborate with Ministry of Health. We want to have a local data, but we keep the protections of the data and the sensitive data. This means we only get data of the image and the classifications of that image belong to. For example, if you want to have a cancerous, non-cancerous, it only this image, we remove all the names, all the numbers, all the the personal data is become blinded. But the only thing that we know, this photo is cancerous, this photo is non-cancerous. But in the context, but it must be captured in Malaysia, which is Malaysian citizen lah. So the number will become expansions. We have some growing numbers, and we reduce the possibility of getting the overfitting. So this happens in the other application, the other startups that came to us. Wise AI. So Wise AI ini is face recognitions that can identify our expressions. Turns out they use Europe and US punya data. So the expression is not really relevant to Malaysia and maybe it's inclined, okay, or declined in certain cases. So they came to us, they asked permissions with few others image processing, and we work with MIMOS. And from there we have the access to have Malaysian or ASEAN local spaces. Okay. So there is pigments, colors, skin colors, and whatnot. Okay? So it's become less overfitting compared to those. Otherwise, they only can sell their applications to Europe and US only. Now, when we have expanding the data for ASEAN's users, then they can access to the markets to ASEAN.
For this application, your expert guess how many training lectures do you need?
Millions. Millions.
How can they get this?
So the innovators do the trainings, millions of data from this benchmark data, and also the additional data that they got from universities and also from hospitals. So the more the rule of thumb, the more high quality data is better for you to model. Your model become reliable. So to answer your questions, statistically, 100 million should be better compared to 10 millions. But for this some certain situations, we do have this 10 millions data, but not for this. Maybe something yang more obvious. Okay, I hope they answer your questions. Okay, maybe we can take last questions.
I'm Farhi from Project Passion. I think it will be the same question as the previous person there. If we have a student project, right, how can we bring to the community and how Merathi can help?
Oh, okay. The third questions that I not answer yet. Okay. Okay. If you can see that these applications is not much different. Those I guess you're quite familiar if you have students that develop the same solution, right? Okay. So coming back to you, we don't want to go in more details on the process of teaching learnings. At least you can provide us the potentials of FYP, final year projects. Because final year project usually you work one-to-one with the students. You have your own data, and you can see the potential of this particular project can be delivered. Okay? So to commercial it. So if you ask me, focus on FYP, final year projects, because for us at Merathi, it's even better if that FYP project, the final year projects, you start engaging with the industry already. It's become industrial FYP. Okay? So you can engage with the clinics, and then at this point, we at Merathi can help. Where if you require some private clinics or private hospitals, we can bring you there. So I hope that answers your questions. Okay. So need to have a planning, strategy, and forward thinking on each of the applications. And you cannot imagine how many projects that we have rejected because the only one side thing of these potentials, when coming back to the demands to the industries, no one will take that. So this, I think, 80 to 90% that project came to us, there's no industry demand. So we suggest FYP, you work with industries or some a bit of demand, industry demand, then we can move backward. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much it. I hope there's no questions. Tak nak mengecewakan sesiapa, tapi kalau kecewa juga saya tak boleh nak buat apa-apa. But I still will be here. I will catch a meeting with Mosti at 4. Maybe after that we can have a small conversation and whatnot. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thank you. Sorry for taking your time. And coming back to the Madam Moderator.
Thank you very much, Dr. Afnizan Faisal, for your insightful presentation. And thank you all for being engaging the questions and discussions. To show our sincere gratitude, we would now like to present a certificate and a token of appreciation to our speaker. I would like to invite Professor Emeritus Dr. Rozan binti Mohamzain to kindly do the honors and Professor Dr. Wesley to accompany.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.
And
Good one, huh?
okay, shall we just make it like that?
Okay, all right.
Yes, yes, yes. We're trying very hard to get something started. We actually applied for a couple of samples, but we don't get it. So in fact, that's not the other class, the DRL.
Sure.
Thank you all for attending today's session. Special thanks to our speaker and to everyone who made this event possible. Wishing you a great day ahead. Thank you.
Want to have a photograph?